Now I will request our presenter to come on the stage and take their chair. Firstly, Dr. Priya Ma'am and Vijay Kumar Sal sir, Akash Kumar Kumar, Odisha, Asrita Shah, Avani Patnaik, Ipsita Lakra, Supriya Digal, Dharmesh Swai, Rahul Kumar Devta, Jagani Pujari, and Santosh Kumar Rao. All are requested to come up the stage and take your chair. Now I would request Dr. Priya Ma'am to come and present her paper.
Thank you, sir. It's a great honor to stand before you all, respected chair, delegates, and the professors, and the student participants here. This paper is a combined presentation of me and Mr. Vijay Kumar Sahu, who is a PhD scholar, and I am his guide. So, the title of the topic is Lived Experiences of English Language Learning among Dalit and Adivasi students at higher secondary schools, a study with reference to EMRS School, Sundargarh, Bhawanipur, Odisha. So, when I tell lived experiences, I mean the feelings and the experiences, the knowledge and understanding that the students gain while learning English. When we talk about learning English, we know that English is a second language learning experience for all of us. But when it comes to this tribal students, they already have their mother tongue Adivasi, and after that their second language is Odia, and again when they learn English, it promotes more challenges to them. So this paper, introduction part I will be dealing with, and the case study, Mr. Vijay Kumar Sahu will give a case study of what are the grassroots difficulties that the students are facing in the classroom context, and as teaching fraternity, how we can ease English learning experience and can add an inclusive learning experience for those tribal students. And so the objective of the study is first to understand the challenges, secondly to analyze what is the impact of the socio-cultural factors on these tribal students, and then evaluate the role of teachers and their teaching resources that are available for them to teach these particular students, and last but not the least, it is to give strategies, proven strategies to enhance their English learning experience from a psychological domain of learning. That is what, and for this in-depth analysis of this classroom context, I would request Vijay Kumar Sahu to continue with the presentation, and finally, I will be giving the solution, how English can be taught more effectively in classroom context for these targeted students that we are focusing on today. May I invite Vijay Kumar Sahu.
A warm good afternoon to the chair and also to all the presenters, participants and the delegates present over here. I, Vijay Kumar Sahu, being a PhD English and a PhD scholar in GIT University, going to present my topic. My guide, Priya ma'am, she has already told about the topic, live experience of learning in higher secondary schools, taking the help of Dalit and Adivasi students. Let me tell you about what is EMRS. The full form of EMRS is Eklavya Model Residential Schools. These schools are the English medium schools set in the year 1997 to 2000. These schools are established by late Padma Shri Award, our Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, during the year 1998. These schools facilitate the SC and SC students for a better education. These schools are combining with Navodaya Vidyalayas and Kendriya Vidyalayas. The three central schools are just like Eklavya Model Residential Schools, then Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya Schools, and your Kendriya Vidyalayas. Eklavya School is purely residential in nature, having the capacity of 420 students. It starts from the class 6 to 12. Each classroom is having the capacity of 60 students, having the ratio of boys and girls 30:30. These schools is having the motto to impart good education to all the first priority to ST students and then to SC students. The main focus to put the tribal students into the mainstream. By that they can be guided with the proper teachers and for the better knowledge in the upcoming future. Even also, these schools are the article schools coming under the article of 275. That means these schools can be stopped. These schools must continue in nature where central government is sponsoring the monetary fund to all the EMRSs. Previously, all the EMRSs, they were organized by state society, and Odisha's EMRS schools were being organized or maintained by OMTES, Odisha Minor Tribal Education Society. But recently, MOTA has taken over these schools. MOTA means Ministry of Tribal Affairs has taken this school under its jurisdiction to compel for the better education. And also, these schools are now called as COE and COES, Center of Excellency in Sports and Center of Excellency in Education too also. Though government is trying a lot of tasks to put these students into mainstream line, but such students are facing a lot of trouble due to their psychological barriers, mental barriers, or parental barriers. Such students are not getting the proper fundamental from their families. Let me tell you about the problems faced by our students. First is the lack of parental support. These students, they do not get proper enhancement or encouragement from their parents. If their parents are happy that their children are studying in Eklavya schools, in English medium schools, it's okay. Second is the emotion. They are not attached or attracted towards English. They think that it's a foreign language, let it pass. No need to go inside to it. And the third thing is that it's a monotone thing that what will you do with English? English is such a language only to pass in CBSE. What will I do with that? Such problems are faced by students. So seeing such type of circumstances, I also observed many students in my school and taken case studies. I am just telling about 3 students of my school. I asked them 2 questions, sir. That what are the things are you facing to learn English and how can you implement English in your day-to-day life? One of the best students, he suggested me, sir, what are the problem that we students are not reading dictionaries, we students are not having a good conversation in English, we students are not interested. Even also I asked to an average student, he said, sir, I am okay with my English, I am not bothering about it to learn it. If it is okay to pass, then it's okay, no need to bother. Also I asked one of the poor students, what the problem are you facing? Sir, my parents are not supporting, my friends, they are not talking, My colleagues, they are not having the habit of reading dictionaries like this thing they told. Even also I asked them that what can be done for you, what the remedies you want to improve your English. So very good things they told me, sir. Let's have a compulsory English in schools. Let's use dictionaries. Even also in the assembly or wherever there is a possibility, students must be forced to talk in English or they must be penalized or they must be punished. But telling you the fact that it is not possible to penalize to put monetary things on students, that is the central funding school. So I told them that it is not possible to penalize you, but it can be possible to punish you. The second thing, punishing is also mental harassment. So they told, sir, please have some English news reading in the assembly. Let's have the compulsion of using English words. Either students will talk in English or they must be silent. So students, they get an opinion to vitalize, to improve the English. And other things are also there to discuss here. So I would like to request my guide, Priya ma'am, for the solution. Please ma'am.
Well expressed. Thank you. So in brief, we can come to the conclusion of how English learning language can be an inclusive process and an enjoyable process. Otherwise, whenever this English subject comes, we are oriented, we in Indian education system are oriented more of clearing exams or scoring grades. But that is not the need of today because his higher secondary education, the target age group is of 17 to 18 age group, which is Zoomers or Gen Z students, we say. So what is more peculiar about them? When we are teaching that particular group of students, we could understand, we could analyze some of their background ideas. And they are more, as we all know, prone to screen time or they are more friendly with internet or social media accessories. So if it is that is their core interest of learning. Like we used to say that we would learn from textbooks when we were studying, and I would refer here that I'm a student of GM College. It was GM College. I did my post-graduation, and I was just sitting here recollecting those days when teacher used to come with open books and teach about literature more. Like phonetics was less taught. And it is like, don't you know this, we used to listen to boring lectures and sometimes in between we used to do our own activities, but sometimes we used to listen to it. So it was one-sided. But now we want, as a solution, we want more interactive methodologies because it is psychology. I told the solution for this is giving more importance to psychological domain of learning strategies, including those. Then what are those? Those are including the affective domain. Affective domain is identifying the values and interests of the students. Like how can we keep them in control? It's very difficult because they have less attention span compared to our generation. Or more generation wise it changes. And so they are very fast in thinking. So why not include some technological aids in the teaching methodology process? Like sir was telling, the traditional mode use dictionaries, use newspapers, these are already included and we narrated the difficulties students are facing. But if we can, I asked him that there is no Wi-Fi enabled system in the school, that is what he gave. But why not, when the government is taking so much initiatives, why not internet is given to those students who have any economical challenges, no parental support, disparities in the social system, totally. So it is felt that I think this Wi-Fi or internet facility as the demand of the day should be provided so that the affective domain of the students, we can create more interest with such type of activities. Why not in a common group and YouTube videos can be played which can be listening to podcasts or some music or English lyrics or something so that they will have the listening skill. If we want to promote the speaking skills, I'm only focusing on speaking skills today. So if we want to that, why not make them more accessible to this? Because in urban areas we are more having access to this, but these Dalit and Adivasi children are not having that facilities, and government should add on to that. That is promoting the affective domain. Then coming to psychomotor domain, where the role of the teacher comes to involve in pair activities, group activities, that learning through movement or activities, and students will engage. There will be peer learning, there will be pair work, and students will form great interest in learning other than. So the mode of lecture teaching methodology should be changed. And finally, we are coming to the cognitive domain, which we all focus about, that how much retention of that is there. And the grading, assessment and everything is done. But if we do a rehearsal, if the teachers are trained properly to promote or to take care of the affective and the psychomotor and then go for the cognitive domain, then learning will be a beautiful experience for these deprived children, particularly the Dalit and Adivasi children. Thank you. In short, I have just narrated it, let us lead into that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Priya ma'am and Vijay sir. Now, I would like to call Akash Kumar Kumar. Please come and present the paper.
Good afternoon to one and all. Respected esteemed Dr. Jitendra Sahu sir, respected dignitaries present sitting on the dais, and all the delegates, participants, and the students present here. My name is Akash Kumar Kumar, student of Girls University, Manivihar, Bhubaneswar. Today I am going to present the paper on the theme based on Dalit literature, having the title Voice of Subaltern in Contemporary Protest Poetry. So I'll try to make it short and try to sum up the gist of this paper because of the limitation of time. So I'll focus on the introduction and the textual analysis, and finally followed by a conclusion. Introduction. Protest poetry is a form of poetry that uses language to express dissent, raise awareness, and call for change in response to social and political or environmental issues. Dalit poetry deals with social issues. The literature was emerged as an outcome of the exploitative nature of Indian caste system as literary trend in India through Indian regional languages and translations. This literature is marked for self-assertion of Dalit subaltern, lower strata of Indian caste, class, religion, language, capital-driven society through poetry, plays, short stories, self-narratives, challenging inhuman treatment, atrocities, inequality, and the society called mainstream literary and critical conventions. The ideology is drawn from Buddha, Charvak, Kabir, Jyotirao Phule, Karl Marx, and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. So Dalit literature has a long history, remained unrecognized until 1960, till the emergence of the Dalit Panther movement inspired by Black Panther movement in Maharashtra. With the help of this movement, a group of writers brought a new, angry, and revolutionary and powerful voice in the realm of literature. In the context of Dalit literature, this paper presents a critical interpretation of three selected poems from Professor Malik's 2 volumes of poetry, An Anatomy of Agony, and The Song of the Soul. The paper will also explore how the voice of subaltern has been raised in these 3 points in different ways. Dalit reality is a social problem, and some creative writers have reflected these issues in a creative way by using symbol, myth, image, etc. or by using different poetic diction also. Similarly, this poet has also raised the voice of subaltern to 3 points in 3 different ways. The first point that I am going to analyze is what a thermoflash suspect. Basically, a thermoflash is a powerful metaphor to represent Dalit reality. So what happens is that thermoflash, but any liquid, any hot liquid or water that you pour into it, it contains heat without emitting any heat, without reflecting heat. So it actually tells about how sometimes flags cross paths. Sometimes how this low strata of society, they often protest. They show protest against, they show their reflection against the image. And I want to quote a few lines from the text. With so much of dirty dust and nothing else, and may bitterly break and boldly burst, this toy throne flags classic road, and from its classic road, releasing all those depressed and suppressed flames that may burn or break those heartless hands. So this is how Thermal flags, it's a powerful metaphor. It has personified the realities, emotions in a very powerful way. The second point that I'll be telling about is caste care, which is very interesting to see. Here the caste stands for caste, which is a social stigma which is given by the society from the very moment when a child is conceived in the womb of its mother. The child carries the caste which is the caste of his parents. So that's how, and I would like to also quote a few lines from this text because it talks about how things will remain the same, that the protest will also remain the same. But I quote, but fighting here against them like a small Buddha or big for all these and maybe 7 million or 7, maybe somewhere in a holy hell or here in this holy and happy heaven. And finally, the last one, that is the dying declaration of an untouchable, which is written in the backdrop of COVID pandemic, which the world has faced in the recent past. And this point explains how a small, insignificant, invisible virus brings everybody equal. In simple words, how the social untouchables and scientific untouchables are becoming the same. Basically, the poet considers COVID-19 virus as an equalizer to the poetic persona used in this point. I'll move forward to the conclusion. To conclude, this is an era of protest or resistance movement, and the postmodern era is the era of questioning the authority or the system. Since evolution is greater than evolution, this sort of writing is an attempt to give voice to the voiceless, to sensitize the readers and to make the readers feel the reality and sympathize with it so that we can think of the change that could be possible in our society. Since inequality is a reality, so protest is also a reality. And as long as inequality is there in the society, so long as Dalit voice will be there in literature too. Thank you so much for listening my presentation.
Thank you, Akas. Now, I would request Odisha Astita Sahab to come and present it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Esteemed Chair, respected teachers and lecturers, I, Alvisha Sridhar, students of Government Women's College, Sambalpur, have the honor to present my seminar paper entitled Women and Nature and Ecofeminism Study of Amitabh Ghosh Grant. This paper sets to examine ecofeminism in gun island by analyzing the work of Amitabh Ghosh. In the novel, he portrays the devaluation of women in the patriarchal society and simultaneously depicts the depletion of ecological arrangement for such discrimination. Ecofeminism is one among the literary theories which delves into an earth-centric approach towards literary study. The central concern of this paper is to understand the innate social arrangement and relationship between both ecology and women. This study reveals how Ghosh has tried to establish a connection between the natural world and the human world on several occasions throughout the novel. Thus, it seeks to answer the fundamental question of how an understanding of women and nature in this novel helps readers to see the connection between the ideas of ecofeminism and its resultant impact on ecology, migration, gender, identity, and historical perspectives. This work aims to analyze the relationship between women and nature and the atrocities that is caused towards them in this patriarchal society, which is apparently relatable as both vouch for each other's respect and coexistence. The paper explores eco-feminist instances in the book Gun Island by Amitav Ghosh, which revolves around the theme of a Bengali folklore of Mansa Devi, the goddess of snakes who struggles for her recognition and value. This research on the green post-colonial novel Gun Island provides the readers a brief knowledge on how nature is innately linked with women's lives and how their natural instincts work in order to sustain the environment, contributing to the eco-critical literary system. Thank you.
Thank you, Adesa. Now I would call to Daniel Pujari, his comment, present the paper.
Good afternoon, sir, and everyone present over here. I'm Charlotte Pujari, UG 4th semester student from Department of English NSCB College. And the title of my paper is A Dissection of Folklore Today and Theme of Indianness in the Magic of the Lost Story by Sudha Murthy. The Magic of the Lost Story by Sudha Murthy is a vivid interwoven tapestry of culture, folklore, myth, and Indian heritage, reflecting India's deep-rooted captivity tradition of storytelling. This piece of paper aims to dissect the use of narrative by Murthy to preserve and magnify Indian folklore, accentuating the essence of storytelling in molding cultural identity. Through the protagonist story, the novel seeks to accentuate the role of ancestral wisdom, mythology, and historical narrative in contemporary literature. The study also dissects Murthy's faculty to seamlessly integrate regional legend, moral lesson, and traditional storytelling techniques to engage young readers while fostering an appreciation for India's literary heritage and the revival of folklore in modern children's literature and its impact on cultural preservation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jagam. Now I would call Parmesh Mai to comment, present.
Good afternoon, respected chairperson. My name is Parmesh. Today I present my lecture on the topic the clay cart and the soul journey, the spiritual symbolism in Mritya Katika. Shudrakas Mritya Katika, the little clay cart, elaborates the concept of dharma into its description, showcasing its balancing nature and its role as the guiding principle. This paper explores how dharma functions not as a rigid set of rules, but as a dynamic force influencing the character's choices and shaping the trajectory. It examines how different characters interpret and adhere to the respective dharmas, be it is the Raja Dharma of the king, the Sri Dharma of the woman, or the individual dharma dedicated to one social standing and the personal will. The play highlights the conflict that arises when the interpretation clash and how the character's adherence to the deviations from the recognized dharma leads to both positive and negative consequences. Ultimately, this study argues that Mritya Katika uses the narrative of the interventionist to explore the complexity of dharma, emphasizing its importance in maintaining the social order and individual integrity, while acknowledging the inherent ambiguities and challenges in its practical application. Thank you.
धन्यवाद राज पेपर presentation. Now I would request our chairperson, Dr. Jitendra Tham sir. Sir suggested that we will allow question from audience, then we shall go towards discussion. And questions are welcome. And any question from your side, then put it before us. I think no question from audience. Yes, you are welcome.
So when I told about latest teaching methodologies, I skipped one point, that is digital language lab. That is one strategy that is implemented nowadays. So government has also started implementing that, and that makes learning English easier. There is a strategy of self-paced learning where you get into different levels, from beginner to moderate to advanced level. So once you go on clearing all these sessions, you can know which level you are and which level you are targeted to. They are also providing English for competitive exams and all. So these strategies can be used by all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Priya ma'am. Now I would request to our chairperson, Dr. Jitendra Sahu sir, to give his views on papers, which are presented by our presenter.
Thank you. Esteemed professors sitting off the dais, esteemed presenters sitting on the dais and the audience, and all the research scholars, participants, students of this college as well as those who have come from other colleges or higher education institutions. I congratulate you all to be a part of this August gathering, this international seminar on reimagining Indianness, reflection of society, culture, religion in Indian writing English. It's the most relevant topic of these days. Being Indian, you should be proud of being Indian. And in order to be proud of being Indian, you have to understand our culture, our religion very deeply. Dear students, especially this week at this mind is intended for the students. जो पिलाने ये कॉलेज रे पीजी की मारी उसी पढ़ू चला तो मैं all over बुझाक चेष्टा the very purpose of this seminar. Try to go deep into it. Try to delve into its depth and explore the immortal pearls within. I think you remember the famous adage of William Shakespeare. Errors like stars upon the surface float. One who intends to search the pearl must dive below. I may be changing some words, but the meaning is the same. One who intends to search the pearl, or get the pearl, must dive below. We are floating only on the surface of the water. Try to go deep into it. What is Indianness? We are reimagining Indianness. Means we are trying to explore the new meanings of Indianness. In course of our discussion, our presentation, I observed during the previous session also, many of you are using high-sounding words, new historicism, cultural materialism, intertextuality, so on and so forth. Are you sure that we have understood the real meaning, the content of those words? Everywhere, wherever I go, I observe that a mere superficiality is going on. And we are not taking care of the sense, the inner sense, the purpose of this gathering of seminars. Actually, we should feel enriched after the end of the seminar. We should feel that we have gained something significant. So, my dear friends, let's understand what is Indianness. Where lies our Indianness? It lies in our culture. I would like to mention in this context, a few years ago, recent, not in the remote past, recently, within a few years, I think all of you remember, a controversial verdict was passed in the Supreme Court that extramarital affairs by married women is permissible. Because they are adults, they have the right to go in their own way, live their life as they like. It is not illegal. With due apology to the chair, with due apology to the Chief Justice, with due apology to our Constitution, with due apology to our Honorable President of India, I would like to express my view that I don't agree with it. Because this is not Indian culture. And I believe those who have passed the verdict, either they are not Indian by heart, they may be Indian by citizenship, but they are not Indian by heart. Or they have forgotten Indian culture. It may be due to the influence of Western culture. It may be due to the influence of English culture. I am also a teacher of English. English is my bread and butter. But in my heart and soul, I am not English. I am Indian. And I am proud of being Indian. Fortunately, unfortunately, I have taken respect to English to all my bread and butter. But that doesn't mean that I have sold my soul for the sake of English. We are Indian. We are learning English. We are proud of being students of English. And I am proud of those Indian writers who have accepted English people in English, in Indian writing English. The largest epic in English so far has been written by an Indian. You know who he is? Sri Aurobindo. Savitri, his magnum opus, is the largest English epic written so far. So, what is Indianness? I was telling you. Indianness lies in our culture. And our culture tells us that we are not happy with what we have. We are not confined to what we are. We always feel in ourselves an urge for transcendence. That is our Indianness. An urge for emancipation. An urge for upliftment. That is our Indianness. Always we have an aspiration going within that is inherent in every Indian consciousness. There is a typical bend of Indian mind that we feel an urge for transcendence, for upliftment, for ascent, for expansion. Therefore, still in the state, man is a transitional being. In his external life, in his sensory life, physical and vital life, he is an animal. But in his soul, he aspires for transcendence. And the future of mankind, what Sri Aurobindo foresees, is Superman hope. And that he has expressed in his masterpiece life, the life behind essays on the Gita, synthesis of yoga, and ultimately in Savitri. I am not a scholar of Sterling, but I love it. I worship. Mr. Pujari is a scholar of Sterling. He is continuing his research on Sri Aurobindo's drama. My research is on Manoj Das's fiction, who subscribes to the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo. Actually, I would have liked to present my paper, but I did not have time to do so. However, I have observed that all the fictional writings of Manoj Das are typically Indian because they reflect the Indian culture. They reflect the inherent aspiration of Indian consciousness for transcendence. They feel, they call inside, they call for the beyond, they call for horizon. Horizon is symbol. Those who have studied Manoj Das's writings, whether in Odia or English, they must have observed that Manoj Das uses such archetypal symbols like horizon, sky, sea. These are symbols of vastness, symbols of expansion. I would like to cite one story. You must have studied a story by Manoj Das, The Kite. Odia Khudi. Kunja is the protagonist. He is a prisoner. One who has taken away, he was transported to some other prison. On the way, he comes across a kite flying in the sky. Suddenly, the kite was detached from the stream and started flying aimlessly. And all of a sudden, it got stuck in a big tree. Kunja felt an urge to release the kite from that tree, and he runs after it. Suddenly, a gust of wind releases the kite. You just mark the narration and try to understand the symbolic significance. That is most important. The actual description is not very important. The kite is released and it goes on flying. Kunja runs after it. And he is unaware of the fact where he is going. And he unconsciously enters the sea. He doesn't know what will happen. In his search for expansion, in his inner urge to reach the unreached, he delves into the ocean and is lost. Just try to understand what Manoj Das intends to communicate. You need not express, just try to understand. In another story, Manoj Das has retold many stories from the Jatakas and Panchatantra. That is why he is often criticized as being too traditional, too orthodox, outdated. But I believe Manoj Das is a visionary, is a man of the future, not of the past. Because you mark his intention, what he wants to communicate. You must have a story in your childhood. A story like Akasa Poincho. Kimba, ଆପଣା ଦୋଷେ ପ୍ରାଣୀ ମରେ ଗୋଟେ ତୃତୀୟ ଶ୍ରେଣୀ ବୋଧେ ଥିଲା ଆମର ମନେ ଥିବ ସେ ଗପଟା ଯେଉଁ ଦୁଇଟା ହଂସ ଗୋଟେ ବାଡ଼ିକୁ ଧରିକିରି ଉଡ଼ିଲେ ମଝିରେ ତାକୁ କାମୁଡ଼ି ଧରି ଉଠୁଥିଲା ଗୋଟେ କଇଁଛ ସେ ପାଟି ଖୋଲିଦେଲା ବୋଲି ପଡ଼ିଗଲା Let us try to understand the significance of the story. Kambu Gribal, that is the protagonist, the daughter, Kambu Gribal. He feels an urge in him to have a look at the outer world because he is confined to the small pool within a valley. He wants to explore the world outside, see the intention, see the implication of the author, to know the unknown, to see the unseen, to hear the unheard, to experience the inexperienced, like Dr. Faustus. That is our aspiration. That is typical Indian consciousness. I don't say that other human beings don't have such others, but that is most prominent in case of Indian. And Kambugriva, this turtle, is a representative of Indian consciousness. So, if you aspire for something earnestly, sincerely, one day your dream must be fulfilled. Remember, I have experienced. Every one of you must experience. If you have a sincere desire, then you appeal to the Almighty, and the Almighty grants it. All sincere prayers are granted. So Kambugriva's prayers are also granted. His friends came to his help. The two swans, they just had a stick, biting it from both sides, both ends, and Kambugriva hand in between. They flew high in the sky. Sambalpur had a very wonderful experience. Flying in the sky, he had never imagined. But unfortunately, his attention was drawn downward. When children were clapping, Sambalpur feels a sense of superiority. Bloody fools, unfortunate people. I am so happy, so proud. But he also heard some people telling behind, a turtle flying in the sky, it would make a delicious dish if it tossed down. Kambugriva could not tolerate this remark. You fool, he opened his mouth. And you know what happened. So what Mohandas intends to say here, that we have an urge, an aspiration to go beyond, but we fail because of our ego. Ego is the bar, ego is the obstacle that prevents us from going beyond ourselves. In almost all the stories of Mohandas, I find this thing, and that is why I like these stories and wanted to conduct my research on it, and I have completed. So that is the typical Indianness I have marked in Mohandas' diction of writings. And in Sri Aurobindo's writings, Sri Aurobindo is a great seer, he is not well known. We cannot even call him a spiritualist, he is beyond spirituality. So, with these words, I pay my tribute to the great author of Bhushan Mohandas and Mahayogi Sri Aurobindo. Once again, I congratulate you to be a part of this wonderful seminar. I believe that you will carry it forward. I believe that all the esteemed presenters, they have the potential. Actually, if we develop their papers, each paper will take a full day, or even more than that, for detailed discussion. So I would like to inspire them to carry it forward, to have such seminars, discussions in their own colleges, so that it will be effective. Let this seminar not be confined to the four walls of this hall alone. Let it be spread outside. Let it reach the society and transform it. That is the mission. That is our purpose. If we do so, then we can say that we are really sincere to what we are doing. I believe that we all have the potentiality to realize it in our real life. And I believe we will do so. So thank you all once again for making this seminar a great success. I thank the organizers, all the members, runners, coordinators, and all of those who have contributed significantly to make it fruitful, successful. I am thankful to the head of the department, Professor Malli, and all the members of this department, English department, NSCB College Sambalpur. I thank Professor Rajendra Party at height of this seminar, which also my colleague in Odisha, Chittagong. I thank my elder brother, Professor Raghunathan Paniknath sir, who was also a member of this department. I always take his advice as and when I read. I thank them all once again for making this seminar a success, and with this I conclude. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for your guidance, teaching of your people.
Hare Krishna. So, myself Santosh Kumar Rao. I am from PG first year Department of English. So, today I am going to make a short presentation on the topic Bhagavad Gita, a book of violence or non-violence. And it is based on our Vedic culture, which is sometimes we regard as rooted in tradition or nourishing in spirit. So as we can see, the culture is divided into two. The history has, history has witnessed that the culture has divided into two types. So there are basically two types of culture that is prevailing in this whole world. One is Western culture and another is Indian culture or Eastern culture. So, what is Western culture? Western culture or the society, Western culture put forth that the society of nature emerges out of sin. So we can see the famous example of the Adamite and the forbidden fruit of knowledge. So how out of sin the society emerged. So it is so how we can see that it is a how from seeing the society emerges and how the psychology of the people of the philosophers and thinkers based on the Western culture, whereas the Indian culture says that nature emerges out of the pure desire of the Lord. By the will of the Lord only, the Indian culture or the Vedic culture develops. So another point of Western culture, another quality of Western culture is that the Western mind believes in inquiry and doubt, analysis and materially successful. So the Western culture believes on material wealth and external development, whereas the Eastern mind or the Indian culture focuses on Shraddha and integration, synthesis and spiritual fulfilling. So, first of all, let us talk about Vedic culture, India's original culture. It is the culture that we are proud of. Why we are proud of this culture? Because there are so many numerous glories to the Vedic culture. The first of all is kings are rajarshis. So somebody said that in Vedic culture everybody they are becoming saints or sadhus. So they cannot enter into the grihastha life or marry or they cannot beget children. But here you see kings are Vedic culture focus on one of the prominent quality, that is kings are rajarshis. What do you mean by the word called rajarshi? Rajarshi means one who is a Raja and also a Rishi. The Raja and also a Rishi. One of the best example of Rajarshi is Yudhishthira Maharaj. Narada Muni himself called Yudhishthira Maharaj that, my dear Yudhishthira Maharaj, you are going to be the most harvesting after Lord Ramachandra. And another example was Ambarish Maharaj. So these are some of the great kings of the Vedic period. So these are the kings of the Vedic period that they set an example of how Vedic culture was there in the ancient time. Another thing is Grihastha Dharma. It is also said that a Grihastha should ensure that even a snake residing in the house of a Grihastha, it should get with food, but the snake will not stay hungry. It is the duty of a Grihastha. And another thing is Swayamvar ceremony. So there are many people who have misconceptions about Vedic culture and they say that child marriage was there in Vedic culture. You are getting the allegations, but can you prove it? The question is no. So the answer is no. Because there is no point of time in Vedic culture you can find there is child marriage. There are Swayamvar ceremonies. A girl is choosing the young man or person. And in this culture, what happens? The boy can choose the girl. So that is the difference. And another thing is Atithi Devo Bhava. So what is Atithi Devo Bhava? One example is that in Mahabharata, there was a fight between Jarasandha and Bhimasena. And they fought for 28 days. And during the daytime, they are fighting against each other. And in the night time, they sat in the same table and eating dinner. So Bhimsen has no fear that Jarasandha might get the poison to take revenge. So that's the greatness of Atithi Devo Bhava. Even if the enemy came to our home, we should pay him respect. So that is Atithi Devo Bhava. Another thing is simplicity, sustainability, self-sufficiency, spirituality. These are the four qualities that has been put forth by one of our devotees in 2012. So how material culture, modern culture is very complex and it is not sustainable. It will not last longer and it is not self-sufficiency, it is not self-sufficient and it has no spiritual background. And another thing is Varnashrama Dharma. So for material development, you can focus on Varna, and for the spiritual development, you can focus on Ashram. So these are the systems. Vedas are divided into two categories, that is Apara and Para. So Apara means for material development and Para means for spiritual development. So it is not like that. In Vedic culture there are only sadhus and they have no focus on material development. Okay. Another thing is it is God-centric, where the modern society is godless. It is not God-centric. That's why our Shankaracharya, His Divine Grace, S.P. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he said, I want to bring a revolution against the godless civilization. So because this modern society was a godless society, and we had witnessed some few days back, 15-20 days back, what happened in LA. There was, the whole town was burned, the whole city of LA was burned down into ashes. And nobody can control that fire. Even the American fighter jets, which are used in wars, they are also, using this fighter jets to put down the fire. So, and before this, incident happened, 2 days before this incident happened, there was a vote between the cast and crew and the Hollywood stars, and they asked that whom do you favor more? There is an assembly like this, so the host asked that whom do you favor more? And the first option was that, cast and crew means Hollywood stars, and it gets 11 points. You can search it on Google or YouTube. It gets 11 points. And the second was mothers, 3 points. And do you know which was in the third position? God. With how many points? 0 points. So the emperor was telling that in the great godless town of LA. So after 2 days, we see what happened in LA. Then temples are the places of education, and temples are not only spiritually progress but also economic progress. How? We see last year Ayodhya temple was inaugurated. So 1 month back, Ayodhya temple celebrated its first Brahmotsav, its first anniversary. And during this period of 1 year, how much revenue was collected in the city of Ayodhya? It is near about 1 lakh crore. That much revenue was collected. And there was, before 1 year, there was no Pizza Hut, Domino's in Ayodhya. They came. And Tata Group, he declared that we are going to build a Taj hotel in Ayodhya. And Mukesh Ambani also told that we would like to invest in Ayodhya. So within a year, 1 lakh crore is invested, and it was not invested, but the income was there, revenue was there. So how a temple skyrocketed the scenario, the entire scenario of a city, just like Jagannath Puri now. So this is the way that how temples are, contributing in economic progress. And another thing is education, where the temple there is education system we talking about right there. And so let's come back to our topic, Bhagavad Gita, whether a book of non-violence or violence, side 2, 4 number side. So Arjuna is trying to say here, Arjuna is not in the mood of waging a war against the Kauravas. So what does he say? He says, Nacha Sreya Nupachami Hatva Swajana Mahade Nakankhe Vijay Krishna Najarachya Sukhanita. I don't need Nakankhe Vijay Krishna. Vijay, I don't need victory. I don't wish. Kankshe means to wish. Narajya Sukhanita. I don't even need a kingdom. So this is one kind of non-violence. So it is good for me in Bhagavad Gita. Then the verses number also VG 1.31 and Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 verse number 31. And the second point is Krishna himself talks non-violence. How? He says Ahimsa Sabdam Akadrasya Tyaga Santir Apashanam Daya Bhuteshu Alabdabhyam Maryadam Hitir Achapalam. In 16.2 Bhagavad Gita, he says that Ahimsa is a transcendental quality. And also chapter Bhagavad Gita chapter number 8 to 12, Krishna says the same thing. Slide number 5. So now let's see how Bhagavad Gita promotes the right kind of violence. Krishna describes the glory of Dharma. Yacha Sukhina Kshatriya Partha. So it is in Bhagavad Gita 1 and also one very motto, Bhagavad Gita is that Krishna wants us not to fight. So this is one of the aspects of how Bhagavad Gita promotes violence. Verse number 6. So what is the point? How misconceptions arise? Why we see that when Britishers came to India, they after seeing the civilization of India, they said, Indians they worship the monkey god. Indians, they are worshipping the Hanumanji, and they said Indians worship monkey god. So they themselves they know about the greatness about Hanumanji. When Hanumanji got angry, he burned down the entire golden city of Lanka. So this is one, because our eyes see fault. Just 2-3 minutes, sir. So our eyes see fault because we observe only what we are focusing. And the second thing, our eyes could see what is before us and what is beyond us. If I would ask you to spot the yellow dots, you only spot the yellow dots. You only see the yellow dots, not the red one, the gray one. That's it. Next. Next slide. Next slide. Play that video. Play that video. Play that video. So this is the example of how our eyes, sees as a illusion in our eyes. So the man was saying that there is a chair on the ground, but actually it is swept away. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Next one. So the South India, here it is Ramanacharya. Yesterday only the disappearance of Ramanacharya went. He is a very much famous Acharya in South India, and he preaches the cult of Vaishnavism, so that you know, so Brahmanas and Bodhisattvas, if you go to South India, they will not let you in to their homes, because I know they know that they are eating such kinds of things. So, and another thing is Shankaracharya, one who has put forth the the philosophy of impersonal Brahman. He also says about the Gita Mahatmya, and it is praised all over the world. Next slide. So there are, how Lord Macaulay, addressed the British Parliament about the demotivation of the English Vedic language. So, okay, thank you so much. So, my topic whether Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a book of violence or non-violence. It is up to you that you decide whether Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a book of violence or non-violence. So could you please show that 70 numbers slide, please, just per second only. So my topic is you decide it, but my point of view is that Bhagavad Gita is the perfect blend of violence and non-violence, because when you do violence to a person, you actually doing violence to yourself. That is the greatest example of this is Ashoka, the king Ashoka. So this is another thing. At the last decade, Bharata Bhumite, Bhavila Manusya Janmaja, Janma Saktaka Parapata, one who has taken birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharata Varsha, made his life successful and work for the benefit of all. Written in CC, Jatana Tritamata, Adilda, and Kotika. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Santosh, for your meeting. Thank you very much, Dr. Chitran sir, for your guidance, suggestion, and advices, and therefore the knowledge floats on at the surface of water, and who want to be an action or dive inside water. Deputy sir, we shall follow your guidance and relevant tips, sir. Thank you very much for your presence, sir. It is our privilege to have this session, sir. Thank you very much, sir, on behalf of our Department of English and NSCB, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all, presenters. Now we shall move towards our very session.
ଆଗ ଭେଟ୍ କରୁଛି କଥାବାର୍ତ୍ତା ଆମେ ହେଇଯିବେ ଏରିଆରେ ଅଛନ୍ତି କେମିତି ବଢ଼ିଆ ବେପାର ହେଇଥାନ୍ତା ହଁ ହେଇଗଲା ଆଉ ହେଇଥାନ୍ତା କର୍ପୋରେସନ୍ ଷ୍ଟାଫ୍ ବହୁତ ବଢ଼ିଆ এই ট্রান্সফার করালাম দিয়েছেন তিনটা মাসে দোকান किती वेळ लागली 10:30 आपण आता पकडू
A very good afternoon. I think all the sessions, both offline and online, have been completed. Those who were upstairs engaged with sessions, parallel sessions, they will join us. And we'll move for the last part of this great international conference, that is the valedictory session. I would like to invite our esteemed Principal Professor Pradeep Kumar Harpal sir to preside over this valedictory meeting. I would like to request Dr. Prasenjit Panda, Associate Professor, Guru Ghazidas University, Bilaspur, Central University, to come upon the stage, the valedictory speaker for this session. I would like to request Professor Rajendra Patil, Head, Department of English, Odisha State Open University. Sir, please come upon the stage. He is also the Chief Advisor of this international conference. I would like to request Professor Harihar Malik, Convener of this conference, Head PG Department of English, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Government College, Sambalpur. Sir, please come upon the stage. Tampa. Now, I would like to request our students to come with bouquet, uttariya and badges. I would like to request our students to present bouquet to our esteemed guest. To present our speaker, Prasenjit Panda sir from Guru Gasidas University, I would like to request our principal sir to felicitate sir. Thank you very much. So now I would like to request Mr. Satyaranjan Bhoi to introduce our guest on the dais in this valedictory session.
Thank you, Tanvay sir. Good afternoon to all of you present over here. Today's chief guest on the dais, Dr. Pradeep Kumar Bharpal sir, guest of honor, Pari sir, HOD PG Department of English, NSCB College, Sambalpur, and today's keynote speaker is Dr. Prasenjit Panda, Guru Gasidas University, Bilaspur. We are honored to welcome Dr. Prasenjit Panda sir, Associate Professor, Department of English, Guru Gasidas University, Bilaspur. He has 15 years of teaching experience. He has published more than 50 research articles and also produced 6 PhD scholars. His areas of interest are literary theory, as he often says, literary theory gives me oxygen, cultural studies and post-colonial literature. He will be sharing insights on politics of visual culture and formation of national identity. Thank you, sir. And today we are also going to listen from Pari sir, Dr. Rajendra Pari sir, who is pushing us to organize this beautiful international seminar. He often says that everything can be achievable. Don't worry, Mr. Malik Babu and Dalai sir. We will be organizing the international seminar. Don't worry. So, with the blessings from Professor Pari sir, we are able to organize this beautiful international seminar. Last but not the least, Mr. Bharpal sir, who have been guiding us how to organize this international seminar, who have been pushing us to break all the obstacles to conduct this seminar. And with this and also paying my gratitude towards Wilson Dole sir and Anil Malik sir, who is guiding us to enrich our education as well as our intellectual abilities with the students as well as with the scholars. Thank you. And also, we're also having with us IPSC coordinator Dr. Raghumohan sir, who have been guiding us with the cultural activities throughout the seminar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Satya. Actually, we are very fortunate to have such eminent personalities on the dais today on this great occasion. This international conference was a brainchild of our HOD, Professor Harihar Malik. In the month of September, we started dreaming of organizing an international seminar or conference this year. And it was quite impossible at the beginning, because when we look at NSCB college, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Government College in the district of Sambalpur, this dream of organizing an international event seems very impossible with the limited infrastructure, with the limited manpower, particularly with the limitation of funds. Anyway, with the guidance, support of our Honorable Principal Sir, we are on the verge of completing this great, grand international conference. We are at the end of the session, it's a valedictory session. And one of our chief advisors, Professor Rajendra Patil, sir, is here with us. And Professor M.P. Nayak sir has left for some urgent work. Otherwise, he was also present last day, the day one of this conference. Today also he was present. He was very cooperative. He supported us. He reached the department any point of time where we invited for any sort of guidance. He always came to the department. Rajendra Patil sir also encouraged us all the time, as Satya told. So we are fortunate to have a combination of such beautiful personalities. By the effort of all, we successfully organized this conference. Our IPSC coordinator, Professor Raghumohan Nayak, he was also very kind-hearted. He helped us, cooperated with us in all the activities. Whenever we asked him, he extended his support and cooperation. I'm very thankful to him also. He joined us in spite of his busy schedule. He joined yesterday in the inaugural session and is also present in this valedictory session. I'm very grateful to you, sir. We will remember you throughout our life, wherever we are. So, without wasting time, we have two speakers to listen to in this valedictory session. I would like to invite our Honorable Principal, sir, to address in this valedictory session. Then we'll move to the speakers. Sir, please.
Thank you, Lawyer. Good afternoon, each and everyone present here, online and offline. First of all, I would like to express my thanks and gratitude to the faculty member of English department and the students because of their selfless labor and hard working. So it became possible to organize such an international seminar. And I express my thanks to all the audience present here and listening with patience. Distinguished guest, Professor Panda, Professor Rajendra Patil, esteemed faculty members present here,
dear participants from different part of the world and the student. It is with a sense of accomplishment and a cause of nostalgia that we gather today to mark the culmination of our international seminar on reimagining Indianness, reflection on society, culture, and religion in Indian writing in English. We have remained engaged in stimulating discussion, shared valuable insights, and collectively explored critical aspects of the seminar topic, leaving off with a renewed understanding of the complexity and potential solutions surrounding this vital issue. We all know that seminars and conferences attendance is the lifeline of the academician. They connect many academicians together to share their views about a particular topic of the seminar or conference. Like the just concluded seminar on Indian writing in English, this seminar gave an opportunity to the participants to share their views and ideas on the Indianness in Indian writing in English. It would have built confidence in the academician and the participants and also help them to learn from the views and innovation of each other. In turn, it will help them to apply such innovation in their real life situation. We have heard from the leading experts in this field, witnessed diverse viewpoints, and we have collectively identified the area where further discussion and innovation and action are imperative. This seminar has not only provided a platform for knowledge exchange, but also ignited a sense of shared responsibility to address the challenges which we may face concerning Indianness in Indian writing in English. As we depart today, let us commit to translate this insightful discussion into tangible outcomes. Let us actively remain engaged with the stakeholders, disseminate the knowledge you have gained, and work toward a future where reflection on society, culture, and religion of India in Indian writing in English can be materialized for the benefit of the English literature study in our country. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir said a lot about English literature. Actually, we expected such kind of input from our principal. Very clearly, he talked about the essence of this international conference. Thank you very much, sir. Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Raghuramani Nayak, sir, the coordinator IQAC, to briefly address this very big presentation. Sir.
Respected sirs on the dais, before dais, my dear students, you have a 6 hours discussion, you have learned so many things, a lot of things together. But before I'm going to speak something about the seminar, you must know it. Actually, what is seminar? You must know it. Seminar, only 3 IEC. 3 is very important. Intense, exchange of ideas. This is the same. Intense interpretation. And this reimagining, you must go to only RE. Right? Re is research. Re-value. Evaluation, re-evaluation, rewriting,
reinterpretation, reformulating. And what is it? Exploring. You must explore using the new things. There is unknown to us. There is a real research matter. You should not be copying from this book to this book and that book. This is not a research. You just search again. What is the ultimate see? Then I am very thankful for the past time the English department. Without a limited staff and limited resource with limited infrastructure, they have shown to the other people that they have can done. मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनकी सपनों में जान होती है। मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनकी सपनों में जान होती है। अरे सपनों में कुछ नहीं होता, हकीकत में जान होती है। मुश्किल इस दुनिया में कुछ भी नहीं, फिर भी लोग अपने इरादे तोड़ देते हैं। मुश्किल इस दुनिया में कुछ भी नहीं, फिर भी लोग इरादे तोड़ देते हैं। और करने की कुछ आदत डालो तो सितारे भी अपने जगह छोड़ देते हैं। They have done the impossible to make possible. One said Napoleon Bonaparte. So they said impossible. He said Napoleon Bonaparte, no, nothing in this world in the world is impossible. Impossible said, it said, I am also possible. There is no negative point of view. You have no is not a negative. No means next opportunity. You have opportunity again. You can do it. Next opportunity. Writing is like ETC, not ETC. इत्यादि जो है तब होना नहीं. And thinking capacity. You have no capacity to think more than to write ETC. There is no question fail. Fail pass equal what? But fail what is fail? Hard attempt in learning. प्रथम तो होना चाहिए, उसको करना चाहिए. So start beginning of this class. So education and research is such a platform to interact with you. There is non to you, there is known to you. It is decision from knowledge only. The exchange of knowledge only. You must be learning. Presenting papers is not a thing, but collection of data, collection of ideas is a new purview of knowledge. That is the important. You can read, you have the knowledge, you can explain it. That's why you must be not necessary to think about that I cannot do it. God always say, I must do it. I can do it. And the can is a very important word. How to do it? I am able to do it. I am capable of doing it. And I know how to do it. This is the definition of can. So everybody must be can, but not make. ମୁଁ ଜାଣିପାରିବିନି, ମୁଁ କରିପାରିବିନି, ये नहीं हो सकता है। उंगलियां थका नहीं सकती, ठोकरे गिरा नहीं सकती, अगर जीतने को तो हार भी हरा नहीं सकती। जीतने के लिए तो अभी किसी करी नहीं, जो मान लिया तो हार लिया, पर जो थाम लिया तो जीत लिया। मुझे करी, I can do it, then I can। ମୁଁ ଭାବୁଛି, ମୁଁ ଚିନ୍ତା କରୁଛି କିଛି ଇମାଜିନାରୀ ପ୍ରୋଜେକ୍ଟ ଯୋଉଠି ବାସ୍ତବତା ନଥାଏ କିନ୍ତୁ ବାସ୍ତବତାକୁ ବାସ୍ତବ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ହେଲେ ନିଜକୁ ସେଲ୍ଫ ଇନଭଲଭମେଣ୍ଟ କରିବାକୁ ପଡ଼ିବ। Many begins confidence begins enthusiasm and enthusiasm conquers the world। तार इच्छा नहीं, will power is a victory, will power is success and will power is leadership। You must be will, ଚିକିତ୍ସା ଜାଣିବାର ଇଚ୍ଛା, କରିବାର ଇଚ୍ଛା, ଶିଖିବାର ଇଚ୍ଛା, ଅନ୍ୱେଷିତ ବିଶ୍ୱ ଇଚ୍ଛା ନଥିଲେ କେବେ ହେବ ନାହିଁ। ଜଣକୁ ଚାହିଁଲେ ଗଛକୁ ଚଢିପାରେ 500 ହାତ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଆପଣ ତାକୁ କରିପାରିବେ ଯେତିକି ହାତ ଅଛି ସେତିକି ଥିବ, ଖାଲି ସଲେ ପଡ଼ିଯିବ। ଆମେ କାହାକୁ ଏଟା କର କହିଲେ ସେ ଲୋକଟା କରିବ ନାହିଁ। ତ ଯଦି ମନରେ ଇଚ୍ଛା ଅଛି, ଯଦି କରିବାର ଅଛି, ତାହେଲେ ଏ ଡର ଭୟ ରଖିବା ନାହିଁ। ଆପଣମାନେ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ଫିଅର ଦୁଇଟା ମିନିଂ ଅଛି। FEAR, forget everything and run away. Don't want to correct किसी हुए नहीं. But we must test everything and write. आमे सब जिनिस समाख्यान करिबा, तापर देखिबे ऑटोमेटिक आत्मा नउठी। मनोबल स्ट्रांग हेबा कथा, शिखिबार स्ट्रांग हेबा कथा, जानिबार स्ट्रांग हेबा कथा, तेबे जाइबी हेबो। मनरे भाग्य जदि हो थांता, एगुडा केबे संभव हेबो नाही। কিন্তু ଆପଣ ମାନେ କହିବାକୁ ବାଧ୍ୟ ଏଟା ଗୋଟେ ଏମିତି ସହଜ ପ୍ଲାଟଫର୍ମ you can just easily knowledge and exchange of it, learn from it and applicate put to you for future action. ଏଟା ଶିଖିଲେ ଏଟା ହେଲା ସେ ସାର୍ ଗୋଟେ ଏମିତି କହିଲେ ମୁଁ ବି ସେୟା କରିବି ମୋ ଦ୍ୱାରା ହବ ବୋଲି ଭାବିକି ଆପଣ ମାନେ ଏବିଠୁ ହିଁ ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେବା କଥା ଜୀବନରେ ଏବିସିଡି ଆମେ ଦିନ ମିଟିଂରେ ବସିଥିଲା ଏବିସିଡି ସମସ୍ତେ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି କିନ୍ତୁ ଏ ପରେ B ଅଛି B ପରେ C ଅଛି B ପରେ D ଅଛି B पर बाद ଆସିବୁ ଦେଖିବୁ ଦୁନିଆରେ ଅଛି କିନ୍ତୁ D पर D ଦେବ ଆମକୁ ଜଣା ନାହିଁ କିନ୍ତୁ ରେଗୁଲେଟର ଅଛି C ଚଏସ୍ ଆପଣ କେମିତି ବଞ୍ଚିବେ ଆପଣ କଣ କରିବେ ଆପଣ କେମିତି ରହିବେ ଚଏସ୍ ତ ଜୀବନରେ ଆପଣ ତିନିଟା C କୁ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ଚଏସ୍ ଗୋଟେ ଚାନ୍ସ ନେଲେ ଯଦି ଜିତିଲେ you must be changed हम तीनटा सी टाइप के हवा କଥା तो जो लोग एथे যদি ইচ্ছা যদি থিব পয়সা ইজ নট ইম্পর্টেন্ট ম্যান পাওয়ার ইজ নট ইম্পর্টেন্ট ইনফ্যাক্ট ইজ নট ইম্পর্টেন্ট নথিং ইজ নট ইম্পর্টেন্ট বুঝলা তেଣୁ ଏ ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ଏତିକି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମନରେ ଷ୍ଟ୍ରଙ୍ଗ ନିଶ୍ଚୟ ମୁଁ ତ କହିବି ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରନ୍ତୁ ଯେ କୌଣସି ଏକାଡେମୀ କମ୍ପିଟିସନ ହେଉଛି ସେମିନାରରେ ଯେ କୌଣସି ଜାଗାରେ କନଫରେନ୍ସରେ ଆପଣମାନେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଯେଉଁମାନେ ଆଇଛନ୍ତି ବିସର୍ଜନ ରିକ୍ୱେଷ୍ଟରେ ସବୁ ଜାଗାରେ ଆପଣମାନେ ପାର୍ଟିସିପେଟ୍ କରନ୍ତୁ ପେପର ନ ପଢ଼ନ୍ତୁ ତାହେଲେ 5ଟା କଥା ଶିଖିବେ ଆଇଡିଆ ତ ପାଇବେ What do you mean by idea? IDEA. I for innovation. D for development. କେତେବେଳେ ହେବ E for everybody, A for action. ଯଦି ନୂଆ ଜିନିଷ ଭଲ ଲାଗିଲା ସମସ୍ତେ ଗ୍ରହଣ କଲେ D for development ଯଦି ଗ୍ରହଣ କଲେ ନାହିଁ ତ ଆପଣମାନେ ଆଇଡିଆ ନିଅନ୍ତୁ ଇନୋଭେଟିଭ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ ଇନିସିଏଟିଭ ନିଅନ୍ତୁ ଦେଖିବେ ବେଶୀ କହିବା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ ମୁଁ ସେମିନାର ଯାଇଥିଲି ମୁଁ ସେମିନାର ଅଧା ଛାଡ଼ିକି ସେମିତି ସିଧା ଆସିଛି କାହିଁକି ମୁଁ ଯିବି କିମ୍ବା ମୁଁ ସେୟାର କରିବି ମୋତେ ମତ ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ ଫ୍ରେଣ୍ଡଟା I can talk it for 1 minute ତେଣୁ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ମୁଁ ଆସିଲି ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସହିତ ସେୟାର କଲି ଆପଣ ଯଦି ଆସିଲେ ନିଜର ଏକ୍ସପିରିଏନ୍ସଟା ନିଶ୍ଚୟ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ କହିବେ ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ନା ମୁଁ ଶୁଣୁଛି ମୋର ଚିନ୍ତା ନାହିଁ ଯଦି ଅନ୍ୟ କିଛି କହୁଥିବ ତେଣୁ ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ ସହଜ ଅଛି ଛୋଟ ଜିନିଷରୁ ବଡ଼ ଜିନିଷ ପ୍ରାରମ୍ଭରୁ ଶେଷ ହୁଏ ଆପଣମାନେ କୌଣସି ଜିନିଷକୁ ଯଦି ଜଣା ନାହିଁ ତାହେଲେ ଆପଣ ଜାଣିବା ପାଇଁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ଜାଣିବି କହେ ତାଠୁ ଭଗବାନ ଦୁନିଆରେ କେହି ନଥିବ ମୁଁ ସବୁ ଜାଣିଛି ବୋଲିବା ଲୋକ ତାଠୁ ବଡ଼ ମୂର୍ଖ ଜନ୍ମ ହିଁ ନଥିବ ବିଦ୍ୟା ଆରମ୍ଭ ନାହିଁ କି ଶେଷ ନାହିଁ Thank you, all the dedication, all the students, all the guys. You have come here even with me, digital college, to their hostility when you were your choice. Maybe, but not only for getting a sitting and talking, because God to know knowledge and ideas and exchange visiting us. And thank you for all to come to the college to join us in beautiful seminar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring speech. And now, I would like to request Professor Prasenjit Panda, Associate Professor, Guru Ghasilas University, Bilaspur, the valedictory speaker. Sir, please address this valedictory session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me this chance to speak something. Respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais and my dear friends over there. So I will not take much time, but to express my some views on the theme of this seminar. The first sentence which actually starts with the reimagination, and from where I actually stuck up. That how do we reimagine? Before that, we have to imagine. So for that matter, I have taken something as Rita actually told me that literary theory is an oxygen for me. Yes, really it is. My specialization is literary theory. So I'll be theorizing this Indian national identity within a span of or under the dynamics of cinema and the visual culture of India. How this, the Indian race, we are imagining and reimagining each and every time from the inception of cinema and the visual culture. Now, as of now, when we are in the age of post-structuralism, when we are in the age of postmodernism, it is very much difficult to bifurcate between the genre, as Rolabad says. So we do not have the genre, we do not have the books, we only have the text in front of us. And so the cinema and the visual culture, the painting, the poetries, even the novels, the fictions, they are all the narratives and the discourses. And if you think that the literature is only for the celebration of the aesthetic, you are in a wrong conception, probably. In a now situation or in a modern day situation, literature is not alone. Literature cannot be created. Literature is an ideology. Literature may be an hegemony. So when you read something, when you see something, you need to take care of several things, which we need to know. The literature, which is, the Indianness after the colonization, after the independence, Mulk-Rajanand and R.K. Narayan, Raja Rao, Aurobindo, and obviously the Rabindranath Tagore, if I'm going back, they're all, even if we go back to Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, Anandaman, there are Durgesh Nandini. There are several ways of understanding national identity and the national consciousness. They haven't tried, or probably they had tried their level best. And we have been reading those things. But when you read those novels in the age of 2025, something different, something differently, should be appreciated for those matter. So as we know that the words, images, these are very temporal. They do not have any fixed meaning. So the cinema, as the art forms, as Walter Benjamin says, it has lost its aura. It doesn't have the aura. Why? Because the mechanical reproductions. Parisar is talking about some of the poetry. I actually get only a few time to interact with such a great scholar and the poet. And he was talking about that Indianness, you cannot grab it. Because it is very much in flux. It is continuous process. It is the beyond Indianness. The nationality, the Indian identity, these are all progressing day by day. And with the advent of cinema, advent of the culture, advent of visual culture, this national identity has been transforming rapidly. As of now, the cinema, which you cannot call it as for an entertainment, it has some other ingredients to interpret. It's something have very complex ideology. What do you mean by this complex ideology? It has got connections with the social, political, economical, and obviously the cultural. You cannot divide, you cannot separate those entities from cinema, or from obviously and literature also. So you cannot divide those things. They are working as an alternative hegemony, as Raymond Williams says in this book. So what happened there? When you talk about, Raja Harishchandra, that's a film. It gives you a national consciousness. Look at the same kind of national consciousness as given by, the another one, Bangkit Chakravarti. So there is a parallel thing. The text is very parallel. Now, when you read this, Mother India, you can also find a woman who is, sacrificing, who is an epitome of reverence, who is an epitome of, tolerance, who is an epitome of perseverance. So that is actually, we imagine our motherland, our Mother India, isn't it? So if you watch, or if you see the paintings of Nandala Bose or Abhinandan Thakur or several other things, several other painters who actually painted Mother India, and they created a kind of an image which is very much akin to those people who are sacrificing their life, who are epitome of motherhood, who are sacrificing for their motherland, and we actually please them. So when you talk about the motherland, when you talk about the national identity, the same Mother India picture comes to our mind, isn't it? And I'm telling you, the same picture is fixed, is meant to be reinterpreted through the visual culture and through the visual images. Now I'm showing you some of the examples how it has been going on and how it has been transforming. Because we are living in an era of similar graph, the wanderer. You cannot imagine, as for example, the reimagination. So you only can imagine the truth, but you cannot catch it, you cannot grasp it. Whenever you grasp it, when you try to grasp it, it will be going away. So you cannot grasp this truth because that's no truth. There is no absolute truth. It is actually constituted. So everything, the words, the images, even the words used, the images of the poetry, the brushstrokes, the shadows, the other technicalities, these are actually, constructing your truth. So this may be interpreted in a different way from you. So the national identity, only you can only imagine, but you cannot get it. Is it okay? So because when we talk about the national identity or the national consciousness, it is actually free flowing. You will never be sure that what is the national consciousness. Because every poet, even our respected sir, even Manoj Dasji, even Aravindaji, even Rabindranath Tagore, even Jayanta Mahapatra, they have given the Indian national consciousness, but in a different way. They are not saying. Even Amitabh Ghosh, in the climate issues, or even the Grand Island, is continuously using the name as a national consciousness, and obviously, it's actually decolonizing the Eurocentric ideology of the climate or the environmental crisis. So that's another ballgame, that's another way. It has been going on. What I'm going to tell you, my dear friends, because you should not believe those things, you should not be so rigid in understanding the discourse or the narratives. Nowadays, it's not about the literature, it's all about the discourse, you are it. So you need to come out of those things, of those influences. Now, I'm just giving you the examples of different kind of national identities. I mean, look, this India is such a great land. It has got, it has been secular, it has been having a wonderful diversity, the national identity, and those things have been presented in the literature and as well as in the cinema. But again, India is such a country which actually celebrates a heterogeneous identity, not a homogeneous identity like other countries. And that's why the Indian essence is a great thing. You can find in the cinema. Now don't misinterpret this thing. When you go by, when you see these things like Diva, that wonderful Amitabh Bachchan and Shashi Kapoor. So that Amitabh Bachchan is playing against the society, against the system. And Shashi Kapoor was another version of national identity. So Amitabh Bachchan is going against the system that is corrupted. So it's another ideology. And Shashi Kapoor is another ideology. So this is the beautiful heterogeneous identity of national, the national consciousness and the identity. Both of them are valid. And if you talk about the GJK concept, the fantasy, the sum of the characters, the angry young man, these are not coming like very abruptly. This has been curated. This angry young man, it has been curated from the literature. It's not coming in the vanity from in the cinema. So when you go for the angry young man, he actually makes a GJK fantasy that I can do anything, I can change the world, I can do this. Represented by, by Amit Khan, the change the society, change they are not going against the India, they are going against the system. So this is another way of national consciousness. They are also national. But at the same time, to pacify this, to come into the contradiction, to erase that one, to create kind of a balanced state of mind or a balanced society, there is a Singapore, there is another pacification. So this is called a heterogeneous identity. And that is why this India's greatness is there. Okay, so this national identity, this national, the Indianness, it should be theoretic. It should be understandable, through several other things. Now, the students are there, so you might be knowing this fact that there are RRR, there are mythological, the propagandist films are there in India. And what they're doing, they're also, I have been watching this one of the presentation that Bhagavad Gita and the volumes. So he's also using this Bhagavad Gita as a text. And obviously what he was giving this picture, he was giving a picture of this Bhagavad Gita. So that's a visual image. Okay. So without this visual image and without marrying or marrying, or without the togetherness of the literature and the visual culture, you cannot understand the totality of this Indianness. You understand this? So that is why, as I told you the first word, that we are living in a very temporal idea. With the words, with the images, it's very temporal. You cannot be fixed. You understand? Now, when you go by the schooling, the societal effect, there's another form of a cultural, the cultural identity. There's another way of the ideology. There's another way of hegemony. That we are the strong, we are we are not the weak country. We can't take stand by. But at the same time, it is not the dominating. It is not hegemonizing the things. There is also films like Illusion. There is also, the films, there are other films are also there who are talking, as for example, Jameen. They are talking about the socialist point of view. They are talking about how the poor stricken, the villages, how they are having this, the problems in their livelihood, or probably they are, to imagine that as an India, as their wonderful country, as an utopian country. Now, let me tell you this one fact from the literature point of view. There's one writer is there, the Somu Mahanta, from this Rachi, and I used to give the example in my master's classroom. There is a book, probably the story book that others will not dance, where it actually shows that how this hegemony, how this ideology is working in those things, and how those marginalized bodies, the marginalized societies, the marginalized, the people, they are having a problem to come out into the center and to act as a something like to imagine as a people for India, or probably their involvement is not there. So that's another point of view. This is why the India is there, because this India actually shows the Indianness should be shown as not as a conformity, but as a heterogeneous element. As the Hegelian dialectic should be always there. If it is not there, then obviously the Indianness would be kind of an autocratic. It is not an autocratic identity. So through the poems or through the when you go by Aurobindo, the Savitri, when you go by the Rabindranath Tagore nationalist identity, nobody actually goes for the homogeneous identity. Nobody. Everybody, or the great poets or the great artists, even the visual arts, even the cinema, they portray the both way of understanding national identity and the national consciousness. So it's a kind of a two-faced genus, my dear friends. If you fall into prey to this, obviously it will be misunderstood. But when you will be reading this thing, with having a very much free point of view or devoid of any ideology, you can understand how the literature of India, how the cinema of India, how they are great, without having any nationalist point of view. Is it okay? So, before then, there was how the Indianness is coming in. before 60s or the 50s, you can find out that the Indian films were made based on the mythological point of view. There are several mythologies over there. Like the same way, now what Devdutt Patnaik is doing. Now Sita has got several versions. Now Ramayana has got several versions. Now Ramayana and Mahabharata is been coming to as a graphics play, as a graphics narrative, as a comic narrative. Why these are coming in? These are also creating an Indianness. And these are also going to the children book. So that from this childhood, the children would be kind of very much familiar with this consciousness, national consciousness. So, this is why I actually chose this reimagination. Reimagination is not that 50 years of the literature and you'll be again carrying forward. No, that cannot be applicable even now next generation. Because you might not be reading Rajarao. You may not be reading Art Narayan. You may not be known Rabindranath Tagore. So, but when will be the national identity will go? How we will be convincing the next generation, the T generation, the J generation, the BC generation, the Gamma generation, when it is the age of the Kabir Singh, it is the age of this animal. So how will you convince the students, the master students, the graduation students, that what you mean by the reimagination, the Indianness, unless you understand that what is meant by the Indian ethos, how the Indian ethos has been changing its forms. Isn't it? It's not fixed in a homogeneous identity, just like the America does, just like the other countries does. Because they have got one nation, one state, one language, one religion. Look at the beauty of the Indian. It has the diverse countries, diverse lands, diverse topography, diverse geographic condition, diverse culture, diverse religion, diverse caste. And look at how we are imagining, each and everybody is imagining our India in a wonderful way. So this is what actually I need to tell you. I hope that very short and crispy, my address will obviously take something, and you will be taking something from the Indian nationalism and Indianness. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Your speech was very powerful. Your words said a lot to the audience. So we are really thankful to you for your encouraging speech, full of information, full of ideas, thoughts. Now I would like to request Professor Rajendra Patil, Head Department of English, Odisha State Open University, and one of our chief advisors. Sir, please, sir will talk about celebrating milestones, embrace futures of Indianness in Indian writing in English. Sir.
Esteemed Principal Sir and other dignitaries present here, scholars, my loved students. This is not for the first time that I have come to this college and here. I have been speaking here. I am a part of this department, and I used to come here, and this was our plan. Of course, this was the plan of the Department of English of NSCB college, but then I had this idea in my discussion with the staff members that you have an international conference that will take the students out of the box. And why out of the box is the reason that when you will be coming in contact with the speakers from the different universities, the scholars from different places, generally you will have some academic inclination. You will develop a kind of spirit within you to read anything very deeply, profoundly, and you will be interested to write, you will be interested to interpret, you will be interested to understand, and you will be interested for developing a vision for the future prospect of your life. This was my intention. When we are talking of Indianness, I was telling our brother Vasanji that Indianness is beyond Indianness. You know the very concept of our ancient Vedic scripts, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. That Indianness, or when we are talking of Indian writing in English, we are coming to a very small box. When you say that you are talking of Indian writing in English, you are talking about a group of writers who emerged in India to make Indian literature global. But then you must remember that much of the Indian literature have been translated by the Europeans, not by the Indians. Can you please tell me? I am not going to give a deliberation. I have given deliberation on Indian poetry in many values of the country, in Delhi, in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat. This is all these scholarly stuffs and the jargon of words used in your scholarly writings. Can you please, anybody from here, tell me which English writer had translated Manusmriti in English? First non-Indian to translate Manusmriti in English. Those who are prepared for NET examination. Sakuntala, not any Indian to translate into different regional languages, but William Jones, who translated Manusmriti for the first time, and this is the beginning of the arrival of the Britishers, not only to enslave us, but to allow us to explore the world and globalize us. In 2016, when I visited Africa, being sponsored by the HRD Ministry to receive an award there, I found that the colonialism that was in the Africa as well as in India and in many parts of the world, I found that the illiterate Africans speak so good English, you will be surprised. I talked to, in Africa, particularly I have been to Accra city, where I found that women are, actually they sit in their business centers, not like India where male community they go and sit in the different business centers. But in Africa you find the female community to be very active and direct. And there I talked to some illiterate women who speak so proficient and good English, you will be surprised. And you know that 9 out of 10 Indians speak very bad English, including myself. This is the statistics. And that is why it is now Indian English, African English, Australian English, English says. Because even if you try, you cannot speak in the British accent. But the question is that when you are talking of Indianness, society, culture, religion in India, writing in English, you are talking of the exploration of the Indian subject matter or the contents of India in the Indian writing in English. So you are talking about a kind of literature that was developed in India by some of the people who were well educated in English language. They created this kind of literature. But this is not Indian literature. If you take a description of what is Indian writing in English and what is Indian literature, you are talking of Indian literature in a different sense. You call it ancient Indian classical literature and you call it Indian writing in English. This is a very shameful thing. Nowhere in the country people say that this is Canadian, this is English writing in Canada, English writing in Australia, English writing in Africa. Nowhere you find. This is a very wrong bias. and this is a very wrong phrasing of telling this kind of literature. We are writing in English, it doesn't mean that actually we are actually writing in a very specialized kind of language. Without this language, perhaps we will be nowhere. In this context, I want to tell you that the kind of literature that was in the North America, what you call amateur literature, every civilization, every culture, every country have developed their own literature, indigenous literature. That is the contribution of their culture, their society, and their language. But there in India, it so happened that because of Lord Macaulay, because we had no education policy, because Lord Macaulay introduction of the Western education and Western thinking, because the Britishers were the first to find Hindu college in 1870, then Presidency College in 1855, and you know that some of the people, those were actually educated in the English language, they started making their profession in India, like by finding out the Brahmo Sabhas, and they abolished the sati, child marriage, and caste discrimination. Then there were so many changes came to India because the modern education system was introduced by the Britishers, and new social mobility started in the country because of the arrival of the Britishers. And after the arrival of the Britishers, there were two groups in India. Rabindranath Tagore, they belonged to our group, they supported the English language to be the official language of the country. And also Britishers, because McLuhan, you have read his essay, function of, what is the essay? Function of criticism and modern time, something like that. And there he said that Britishers are not good at writing literature, they are good at information. They are not good at writing good literature because much of the British literature that we find in Britain is either some imitative literature of France or German, and you know that the beginning of the English literature is like that. And that is why there is a question whether the kind of literature that is developed by the Indian writers writing in English is imitative or innovative. This is one question. The feather Murtala, you know that Indians they do not accept an Indian. Indian against Indian is one of the basic things that you find in Indian society. When Murtala Anand wrote his book Untouchable, he led to 6-7 publishers in Delhi. And everybody told them, no, we are not going to publish. This was the same question after Aryan because nobody was publishing his works, and that is why he wrote Green to United Kingdom, and there actually he sent his writings to him to get it published. And you find many writers of India, those were really very deeply frustrated that their writings and their books were not allowed to be published in India, and this is an exact thing that we find in India. And this is how that we find today when we are talking of whether our Indian, what we call Indian writing in English, because you know that there are a lot of criticism in India why the Indian writing in English has not become that popular as per the diasporic writers of India who could get Nobel Prize. You know, B.S. Naiwal got Nobel Prize, and you know the debut book of Jhumpa Lahiri, the interpreter Malad has received the Pulitzer Award, first book Pulitzer Award. I have read interpreter Malad in the Jhumpa Lahiri. And B.S. Naiwal was in a free stage that could get also Nobel Prize. All the books of the diaspora, Indian diaspora, they could become very famous in the world. And why they become very famous in the world? So you know that B.S. Naiwal, whose forefathers were taken to caravans. And you know that when the Britishers they came to India, at the time they were taking the Indians to caravans, Africa and other areas where they are for industrial exploitation. And yes, there was forefathers, they were Caribbeans, they were working in the coffee and the tea estate. In one interview, this people told many things against India. And he told that I am Indian, but the thing is that India has not accepted the kind of literature. I am giving all kinds of literature from Indian context. As you know that the form, structure, genre, style, everything is European, and the content is Indian. Whether you read your Dalit literature, you know that the 100 years old literature has been reproduced in India, and that is why today Indian literature is not so much recognized in the world. But the Indian diaspora, they have been recognized. And in a referendum day in Britain, there was a stellar gathering of the Indian writers, Indian diaspora writers, where you find, have read the poems of Mina Alexander, the diaspora poets. How powerful poetry they can write of expressing their agony, alienation, and how they express their deep, profound love for Indian culture, Indian soil. Mina Alexander remembers how wonderful it is to wear a pair of bangles in my hands and a pavilion on my forehead and a sign which I cannot do in Britain, which I cannot do in the United States of America. The same thing you find in Anita Desai's Barbara Blackbird, where actually Sarah is a British lady who is married to, what is the name of the professional, I forget. And she is an Indian inside the house, but she is a UK woman, representing a woman outside the house. So these sort of hotspots when you are talking of Indian writing in English, because those who remain in India, they wrote an Indian context, and they lost one great thing that was missing in Indian writing in English, is the universal thing. For example, our Ramayana, Mahabharata. You know, Ramachandra is a character in a epic. Now he has become a god. Who? Ramachandra. Ramachandra Bhagavan. ବାଲ୍ମୀକିଙ୍କର ଏକ ମାନସ ତାଙ୍କର ହେଉଛନ୍ତି ଗୋଟେ ରାମାୟଣର ଗୋଟେ ଚରିତ୍ର କିନ୍ତୁ ଆଜି ରାମଚନ୍ଦ୍ର worship as a god because of the universal theme, because of the acceptance of Ramayana in every house, that kind of literature of writing Ramayana, Mahabharata. Yesterday there was also a cheering session where actually the topic was decolonizing from the Indian class. I could not understand what is decolonizing. The thing is that in days of Puranas and all those things were written by Brahmins, not like the told. It doesn't matter. We are not concerned with caste, creed, and color as far as our universal message goes to the world that we are Amrutasya Putra. We are not Bharatasya Putra, we are Amrutasya Putra. If you have read through Savitri, I doubt whether I was discussing, people have understood few lines of Savitri, the beginning lines of Savitri, even people they are talking about, they don't read actually. The problem is that because it would take 100 years for whole of the world to understand Savitri. And when you read Savitri, you find certain words, the broad mind of the night, and the only temple of eternity. You see the paradoxes, the paradoxical use that Aurobindo uses, that the whole world is a paradox. The unlit temple of eternity, unlit, not lighted. There is no light, only temple of eternity. And there you see the core body mind of the night. What is the mind of the night? It's not easy to read literature that to extent. You have to read the contents of the literature. And if you only, today people are writing so many research scholars, and a lot of research scholars have been produced, but I doubt whether they have truly read the poetry of catalogs, whether they have truly compared, great writers of the world, whether they have truly compared Homer's Iliad with Ramayana. You find very few in India. because those things are very difficult. So my point is, I will not actually lecture my speech anymore, but I want to say one thing, that reimagining, rethinking actually, we cannot just use the word reimagining. Rethinking Indianness in our society, culture, religion, and literature. Thereby, we have to now think two things. I think two things. One is that whether the kind of literature that we have produced in Indian writing in English is universal or local. Number one. Whether this is universal, whether I have been to Kolkata, there in the Bharatiya Bhasha Parishad, I was invited as a guest speaker there. I asked that why the Indians have not received the Nobel Prize, excepting Rabindranath Tagore, some 100 in 2013, something like that. In 1930, something like that. But after that, why we have not? The thing is that our literature has missed the Indianness, the universal theme, the kind of theme that we have created in our literature. It may be your Abhyam Swatantara, it may be your Sapna Vasavadatta, the dream consciousness. You see, when you read Sapna Vasavadatta, you find Vasavadatta in love with Udayana. Yet, Freudian psychology, the interpretation of the dreams or the dream psychology, that was very much there. So we are somewhere missing whether our literature today we are writing is local or it is universal. One thing that the old writers or the great people of the world point out that Indian writing is missing in one thing, that is the universal theme. Today we love Shakespeare or we love Kalidas, we find the description of Ritu Samhara, we find the description of the seasons. But today we are writing a kind of literature that is more imitative rather than innovative. I see. What is an innovative writing? You know, Nava Gyana Unmesa Sarini Prajna. Every poem is should be filled with new ideas, new thoughts. Every unique thought should be there in every poem. Every unique thing should be there in a novel. Not it will be like a Bhakta who is so ill-treated in a society like that caste discrimination. Not like I don't like the end of Kathapura where Murthy and other people they form their own village. Not like that. Our Indian freedom struggle has been successful with the sacrifices of the great people. And also, somewhere something is missing. I have read the Malgumides, and if you have compared Malgumides with Antonin Chekhov's stories, the exact description of the rural life that you find in Chekhov's story, you find in the Arcade stories. So when we make a comparison of what is what, I have a list of Salman Rushdie, who is a very successful writer in our modern days writing. You know, the magic realism was a concept developed by Gabriel Farkas. Yeah. So that magic realism, that theory is used in the shadow lines by Amitabh Ghosh, and you find the same thing with in the midnight children. And you find this Salim Shairi, is the character, Shiva is the other character. These two children are actually exchange. All the stories of the partisan time, it may be your road to train to Pakistan, it may be your borders and boundaries, which tells that what history could not write in India, that literature has written. It is not the case. There was no such organism during the partisan time that we have portrayed in our partisan literature. So we have to go to one thing, that let us rethink, reimagine about a kind of literature that will focus on the universal theme, that will focus on a kind of theme that the Europeans, they took from us. I was talking to brother, that the American transcendentalism, that Emerson, love, immersion, idea of transcendentalism, we don't from Vedanta. When T.S. Eliot wrote Westland, last three lines, London Bridge is falling down, here and there is a whole falling down. That's what he will give to the world. Now, you have sympathy or pity. And Ramatha, you have self-control, you have control over yourself. So that the Indianness is very much now, it has entered into the European literature, and it is very good that, I am not denigrating the Indian writing in English, it is very good that their literature has come to us. Our literature, remember, has also got to that the whole of the European literature that you find today is based on our Indian classical text. And T.S. Eliot, William Butler, yes, who had the system of occultism, second coming, things all about the center cannot hold, here energy is loosened from the world, the fact, oh, this, the idea of the esoteric system of Indian, the esoteric system of Indian philosophy. Even T.S. Eliot could translate Patanjali into English. The four quatrains is only the Indian ideas. The Vedantic philosophy. Everything today you find in the modern European literature is from India. And it is well and good that we also borrowed so many things from the Europeans, and we have also given so many things to the Europeans that we have got to concept with it